your trip to Taiwan. In this video, you'll get the most important information for your trip to Asia. For this video, some friends of mine sifted through thousands of videos and photos and picked out about 120 that they found the most interesting. I'm going to comment on those spontaneously right now. I haven't seen the pictures myself yet. If you don't have the time or don't feel like watching the whole video, just click through the topics below that interest you, and don't forget to leave a comment so I can make another video if needed. They were kind enough to put all the photos on my phone for me, so I'll have to look down from time to time. You'll see the photos displayed on the screen. Obviously, electricity is important for a YouTuber. In Taiwan, we have 240 volts. I always recommend buying devices that can also handle 110 volts, and it will always say on them 110 to 240, 250. That way you're absolutely safe. Then you won't have any problems with that. I once had an experience in Costa Rica where we had a charger with us. It was only able to operate on 240 volts, but at that time in Costa Rica there was only 110 volts everywhere. But they solved that there by simply combining two lines, and then at least we had 220 volts. In any case, the charger worked. The photo clearly shows me on the flight, and I always book economy, the cheapest option. In this case, it was 1,000 euros for a round trip. You just have to make sure you find cheap flights. I've already made several videos on how to best manage that. The point of this video is that my friends know I'm usually not satisfied with airplane food, so I always solve that for myself by bringing a small backpack. I always take it directly to my seat when I board, so I don't bother anyone by searching for things. And in there I usually have a few tomatoes, some bell peppers, some cucumbers, and a few protein bars. But I always make sure to finish everything, because usually you're not allowed to bring these items into the countries I'm traveling to. Otherwise you can get fined. So you really have to be careful about that. And besides that, I always pack a pair of good headphones in my backpack so I can have some peace and relax a bit. And also a USB plug, because on these big long-haul planes you almost always have a USB port nowadays, so you can charge your phone. Anyone traveling to Taiwan has the chance to win 150 euros. The money is then stored on a chip card and you can spend it anywhere in the country. Unfortunately, I wasn't lucky, but everyone can participate in this raffle for free. You just have to visit the website that's now being shown, and then you immediately receive a QR code by email. After landing, you can scan this QR code at a scanner and you instantly get your prize, or like me, maybe not. The picture shows nigiri. I love nigiri. It's sushi that's triangular and wrapped in a sheet of seaweed. It costs very little money abroad. I first discovered it in Mongolia, where it cost 70 cents. These boxes here really impressed me. These are those claw machines, like the ones we have at events here, and you can get your food from them, or even mineral water, like in this machine. Here you can see the garbage collection. What's special in Taiwan is that the garbage trucks drive around playing a song, so people know the garbage collection is here and bring their trash directly to the truck. The advantage of this is that cockroaches and rats don't even get the chance to feed themselves even better than they already do. Here you can see me sleeping in the subway. Okay, of course that's staged, but you really could have it super quiet there in the subways and trains. Taking the train in Taiwan is a great experience. It's not just that the trains are quiet. You also always have the option to get cold and hot water at the station for snacks. These water dispensers are actually almost everywhere. But you also have the opportunity to properly charge your phones. And there are large waiting areas where people just sit, like in this photo. It's really impressive because, once again, it's quiet here too. Unlike in our country, in Taiwan you have to wait until a platform is released, and when it is, you can scan your ticket at a scanner and then pass through a turnstile to get to your train. I think that's a pretty good system. That way, only people who are actually traveling are ever on the platform. There are also markings on the ground showing you where to stand. That works well too. This way, people can board and exit the train at the same time without bumping into each other. Probably the most important thing in Taiwan is this card. This is the public transport card. You can get it once, and then you can top it up with cash at pretty much any convenience store. And you can use it not only to pay for your tickets, but also to buy snacks at various shops. It's very convenient, basically a credit card for the everyday person. Paying for trains works differently in Taiwan. You don't buy a ticket in advance like we do. Instead, you tap the card on a reader, go through a turnstile, use public transportation, and at the exit, you tap the card on a scanner with a turnstile again, and then the amount is deducted. If you don't have enough credit, you can top it up at a ticket booth, and then you get a token. You can alternatively insert this token into the machine. Here comes another exception to the story I just told. These are the tickets for the high-speed trains. we actually had to book those separately. But as you can see, they also have these QR codes here. They work pretty much the same way, except that you buy them in advance, or at least we bought them in advance. And then we also had the advantage of being able to reserve seats. But again, everything was very cheap and affordable. The train here goes through the rainforest, highly recommended. We only managed to get tickets very spontaneously as well. The website kept causing problems during booking that we couldn't solve, but on site it worked out. Of course, you can't always count on that, but I can only recommend it to everyone. A glimpse into Taiwanese cuisine, what can I say? Forget about bread. I really love having bread for breakfast. I didn't get any for 3 weeks. Just get used to noodles and rice and even a lot of meat in the morning. Had a bit of trouble with that, but it's an experience, the Asian cuisine, and it's super cheap. Train travel and food are super cheap. I can already eat sushi with chopsticks in Germany, but that's about where my chopstick skills ended. I was able to improve that in Taiwan. There really are always only chopsticks, except for soup, then you get a spoon. And by now I think I can really eat very well with chopsticks. I can even handle slippery noodles and pick up individual grains of rice. You really do learn it well. If you don't want to learn it, it's best to bring your own dishes or cutlery from Germany. Here, the chef in the restaurant even specifically pointed this out to us. I distinctly remember very clearly that this particular dish was a special limited time promotion and there was only a very small amount left available, and we absolutely should have ordered it immediately at that moment, but unfortunately we did not. Street food stalls like the one in this picture are really common, and of course there's always a lot from the sea everywhere. Here you can see an octopus. Here you can see duck necks. I always say duck, but that's not right, they're goosenecks. And yes, I took a picture of them first and thought, you're not going to eat those. And then I thought to myself, my God, what am I here for? Of course, to try things. So I actually paid what was for me quite a lot, 35 Taiwan dollars, which is about €1 just for a single neck. I had it fried right there and it tasted good. Here we wondered what purpose these fire containers on the street always serve. And then we found out what they are for, but I think we'll get to that later. As already mentioned, the menus take some getting used to. I definitely recommend use the free Google language tool and also make use of the offline function. Be sure to download both traditional and simplified Chinese as well as English if you have any language gaps, so you can manage somehow. You also can't rely on bus schedules being in both Chinese and English. I often found that the schedules were only in Chinese. This is in the We Do It Differently section. I always have trouble identifying the places. I always display the names of the places. Here we had the problem that we didn't know which bus to take, or at least we weren't sure. And here you can see my friend who was traveling with me, talking to a local, and I really have to say they are super nice. From other countries, I know that when locals approach you, they usually have one thing in mind, their own benefit. That didn't happen to us in Taiwan. People talk to you because they genuinely want to help. They have no incentive to take money from anyone in any way. This picture shows charging stations for batteries, and the batteries are put into scooters. There's a rental system for this, which of course works with a chip card, and when your scooter runs out of power, you can just stop, tap your card, put the old battery in, take a new one out, and keep going. These charging stations are really everywhere. With them, you can actually travel across the whole country if you want to, I think. This picture shows something quite special. A token is being handed over here. First of all, there is still a lot of staff at the train stations. I don't think they're really necessary. The trains there all look pretty modern already. I think it's just a relic because it's always been done that way. And here, one of those things, I think they're called tokens, is being handed over. Apparently, only the person who has this token is allowed to use the track. This system is still very common and even necessary in India because the railway tracks there are apparently still quite old. Here in Taiwan, I think it's simply, we've always done it this way, and I've never really seen such a handover before. I just had to capture it. Doing laundry in Taiwan, just like in Australia, is no problem. You can find laundromats everywhere. The machines are fast, half an hour for washing, half an hour for drying. It cost me 60 Taiwan dollars each time, so a total of 120 Taiwan dollars. A really cheap deal. But we also had this in a somewhat nicer hotel. There it was even included for free. Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything more about the fire on the streets just now. Because over the course of our trip, we learned that people burn joss paper for their ancestors. So you go to the supermarket and buy printed paper, joss paper, and then you throw it into the fire for your ancestors and let it burn, and the fire just keeps burning there on the street. That's apparently the whole secret behind these fire bins, which, if I understood correctly, don't burn all year round, but only for a few weeks at a time. Yes, as I already mentioned, I love these Asian soups and thought I'd go to a ramen restaurant. And you have to know a good Asian soup that you buy at 7-Eleven supermarket that's everywhere costs me about 80 Thai baht. And here I actually paid 120. I still remember that I had to place my order at a vending machine. Then I got a receipt. Then I could walk over to a wall, pick up these instant soups, basically exactly the same as in a supermarket tent, and then heat them up myself at a station. I kept wondering where the 2 eggs were and how they would get to me since I had also ordered them. When I was leaving the store, I saw this box and immediately took a photo of it because apparently I could have taken 2 eggs from there and then cracked them into the noodles while preparing them and eaten them. I never went back to do that. So I basically paid for the 2 eggs for nothing. Well, it was okay, if only for the experience, but it was also expensive. You could have easily gotten it for 80 Thai baht, but I paid 120. It doesn't bother me now, but if you have to watch your money, then you just shouldn't go in. But you should definitely go in there. That's in Taipei, the Taipei 101 tower. I think it's now the 7th tallest actually. That's not true. I think it's the 11th tallest building in the world, but in any case, it's super tall. And we treated ourselves to the luxury of going all the way to the top. Since we were already there, it cost about 10 euros more, but it's really worth it. Arrive a little earlier. We were there really early too. In the entrance area, there isn't much going on yet, and as you can see in these pictures, there are Dior, Chanel, and all the big brands all presenting themselves in a very elaborate way. As part of that, they've created an artificial garden there. Well, it's not really my thing either, but I basically had that garden all to myself. An hour later, it was full of influencers. It was super crowded. So if you want to take pictures there, go an hour earlier, and you'll also have the advantage that on the platform it's still relatively, well, alone isn't quite the right word, but the platform is still empty if you go early. What's special about this building is that it's supposed to be earthquake proof, and the highlight of the whole thing is the sphere that you can see now. It's designed to swing during an earthquake and thereby keep the tower stable so that it doesn't collapse. Definitely bring cosmetics from Germany with you. You won't find them cheaper anywhere else. Sunscreen costs at least 20 euros abroad, and usually you only get SPF 30, not SPF 50 like we have at home. This time I had to buy shaving foam in Taiwan because I didn't follow my own advice. 100 milliliters, 3 euros. Well, I hope you enjoyed this experiment. Let me know in the comments so I can do better next time. And here is the promised video.